Ford as committee member. Also, others present, Dr. Trahan, Mike Lagarde, Don Crowdis, Gregory Harding, and President Mr. Dane Voisin, as well as Superintendent Argerant and his staff. Item number 2 can be Sherry Roger from LSU Ag. The committee recommends that the board approve and accept as presented the cooperative endeavor between Louisiana Cooperative Extension 4-H Youth Development and Terrebonne Parish School District for 5 years, 2025 to 2030, to provide informal education programming from the LSU Ag Center, and further authorize the superintendent to sign all necessary documents pertaining thereto.
So moved.
Thank you, and I second that. Yes, if you'll be glad to share with us, please.
Cherie Roger, I just want to thank you for your support and just remind you that our services not only include 4-H, but we also have a fisheries agent that works well with the school board or the school system to provide some additional resources. And we also have nutrition agents who work with our schools as well. So through 4-H, nutrition, and our A&R agents, we're reaching different areas of content there.
What do the fisheries do?
So she's worked with some of the, they have like a day where they go to, I think, in Dulo Arch, they go to Lumcon too, but one day was with, at the Jean Lafitte Library in Thibodaux, but it was Terrebonne kids who went to that day. And they just rotate to different stations and do different activities as far as wetland education.
Thank you, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any comment from the public? Seeing no public, any comment, Mr. Ford?
Yeah, I just want to encourage you guys. I'm glad that we're doing a 5-year agreement instead of year by year right now. I know that LSU Ag is really doing a lot of outreach. That program is growing there, so I think by default, Terrebonne Parish should be growing its ag program as well. I know I'd love to see something like they have in Lafourche and in Assumption, where there's a lot of students taking ag and really working towards developing careers in that, or even going into programs in that field. So I'm glad that you're doing that. Lumcon, I met with someone very recently who's one of the directors there, and they're looking for opportunities to do some outreach also.
Mhm.
So if you want to just, keep making those
Yeah.
connections and keep promoting it, I like the idea, and I'm glad that you guys are on board and really educating our kids, getting our kids excited about, agriculture in this area. So thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Any other board members? Seeing none, any nays? Motion passes. Item number 3, this will be Ms. Ali Dugas. The committee recommends that the board reject all 3 bids received due to them being non-responsive, and authorize the purchasing department to re-advertise these bids for career and technical equipment supplies. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Second by myself. Yes, Ms. Dugas.
Any questions? So Louisiana public bid law gives you not much leniency on following directions. So all 3 of the bidders that participated missed the step on the bid, and when you don't follow directions, you have to reject their bids. So one of them was as simple as didn't use their correct bid form. They just put all of the prices into a spreadsheet, so I had to reject it because the instructions say use the attached bid form. One of them didn't sign the bid. They just typed their name in, and it very specifically says it needs to be signed by an authorized representative. There was an addendum for this bid, and 2 of them didn't acknowledge the addendum. So for those reasons, we had to reject all 3 bids.
So it just didn't follow instructions, basically.
Yes. And they're very clear to help the bidders, because if there is one bidder who doesn't follow the instructions, but there is one who does, they'll get upset if they don't win.
Awesome. Anybody from the public would like to comment on this? Mr. Ford?
I support this with regards to holding them to a higher standard, hold them accountable, follow the instructions, sign where you need to sign, do whatever. But I'm curious to know what type of equipment this was that we were bidding.
These are these are the welding supplies for their welding program. So there are probably about maybe 240 line items. And we're not going to not purchase them. We're just going to have to re-advertise it. For materials and supplies, I only have to advertise 15 days. So it shouldn't hold anything up. If we need anything before that time, we'll make them get 3 quotes from all of the vendors. So we should still be okay.
So this is materials and supplies, not equipment?
There
not-
are some bigger equipment, I think some new things that they want to purchase. I don't know the exact items because a lot, I don't understand all the words that we.
So
all
the
the
reason
different
I'm
pieces.
asking is, I mean, of course, I'm curious to know, but also we have quite a few local community colleges that have pretty robust programs where they have tons of equipment that doesn't get used every year. So, I mean, there may be opportunities for them to help us, and,
Possibly.
it could turn into a recruiting opportunity for them as well. But I would maybe reach out to Fletcher, Delgado, Nunez, the other local community colleges, all part of the LTCT program. I think that's the acronym for it, but
And
yeah.
a lot of the items on the list are consumable. It's things they purchase every year. So I'm not.
So for consumables, I would also venture to say maybe there's local companies and organizations, maybe ones that come to us every year for ITEP exemptions that may want to be interested in donating supplies and equipment as well. Maybe something to consider. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other board members? Yeah, Mr. Kraus.
So, Ms. Alley, the ones that we've rejected, are they able to rebid again?
Yes, they are. And in their rejection letter, I let them know exactly why they rejected so they can make sure to not, repeat their mistakes.
So, with a follow-up on that, were their bids, were they worthy of looking at again?
Absolutely. They're all very competitive. And it's a line item bid, so one of them can have, 40 of the lowest items, one can have 3 of the lowest items, and they'll win whichever items they're lowest. And some of them are local vendors.
Oh, okay. So one might win 2 or 3 bids, and then someone else may win 3 or 4 more bids on
Yep,
it. Okay.
that's correct.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other board members? Any opposed? None opposed, motion passes. Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Next, Mr. Torbert. The committee recommends that the board approve and accept as presented the 2025-2026 Student Code of Conduct. Thank you. Second by myself. If you'd like to share with us, sir.
Yeah, it's just like we do every year. The font is a little small, I'll give you that. But the catch is that it's intended to be linked to the school sites as well as our parish sites. And what it is, we realized over the last few years that it costs Kids United, if we go out to get it printed, maybe 8-10 grand plus to print one for each kid, when a lot of times they may not even use them. So obviously with everything going electronic, so we've attached it to our website the last couple of years. And Miss Patty in our mailroom, she prints a handful for each campus. And to my knowledge, we haven't been asked to reload those 30 or 40 we might print for the campuses. So, and it also allows us, if policy should change during the year, we can update it pretty much overnight, and that way we don't have to reprint things and who has an older copy or that type of thing. So it is, if a parent should, there are hyperlinks in the document, but if a parent should need a hand or a physical copy of, we can always print those as well. So to work with the families as needed.
Very good. Any comments from the public? Mr. Ford?
I do have a couple of comments, and it's not really questions, just something to consider. So I know this proposal is for acceptance of the Student Code of Conduct, but one thing that we could possibly do in the future is get a very limited number of prints and make it accessible for parents to request as needed a print copy of the Student Code of Conduct. And that can go out with their first school day paperwork or whatever, if you want a printed copy. Or in the event that we have a student that violates Student Code of Conduct, of course, give them a hard copy when we're going over that as an administrative or disciplinarian team. But I do want to.
I'm sorry, Mr. Ford, could I add something?
Oh, yeah, of course, go ahead.
So when Mr. Butler and myself, when we conduct especially for expulsion hearings, we do have copies of it if in the event that the families ask for copies. or if there is some challenges to whatever violation the student may be facing.
Yeah, that, just something for cost saving in the future. Now, we have had a lot of chatter over the last couple of days over the changes in the policy and the student.
We haven't
code
had
of
any, I
conduct.
don't know what, no, I'm
Yeah,
kidding.
imagine that, huh? So I'm hoping that, maybe people will take a closer look and actually read what's written in black and white and
Sure.
not really go off of hearsay.
Sure.
So I'm just making this comment to encourage anyone out there to take a look at it online, read it, or if you have questions, call Mr. Mark Tarbert. He will answer any question you have.
Well, if I can also build on that too, and I do appreciate the comment because obviously with social media being what it is, people are taking some comments that are being made as an opinion and assuming that it's also the directive from us or from the schools. And we are working with schools because God knows with the amount of variety of bags that are out there, I'm assuming that's the one you're talking about, the amount of variety or the bags out there, I don't know if I hate to use the word impossible, but I'm sure it would be close for us to, this is the 10 that you can use or whichever, there's always going to be a variance to it. So we're trying to work with schools as well as with families. They've emailed us pictures, they've done those kind of things to try to work with families as best we can. We're not looking to put kids out of school, we're trying to make it more secure, but also being understanding of where a parent's dilemma might fall with this as well.
So there's two things I want to rebuttal, and then I'll be done with that. So the recommendation that was added to the student code of conduct, just for clarity, came from a committee of school district stakeholders. I'm the only board member that's on that committee, but I happened to miss the meeting that day because I had prior commitments. So those recommendations, although ratified by the board, were not made by the board. Those recommendations came from that committee. So I need the public to understand that. The other thing I need them to understand is when you have a parent, especially of a high school student, who's making idle threats to pull their kid and send them to a private school, well, guess what? If we have a population of 1,300 kids in that school and you're pulling one to make it $12.99, okay, good luck. We're still going to keep conducting business as usual because our main priority is educating these kids in a safe, secure environment. So if you want to pull your child, take them to private school, homeschool them. That's your prerogative. But don't hold them or hold their feet or our feet to the fire to say, well, if you implement this, I'm going to pull my kid. Okay. What are you really teaching that kid in that lesson? So if you're a stakeholder of this district, if you're a taxpayer, I'm telling you, beyond a shadow of a doubt, we on this board and everyone in this room that's affiliated with this school system is doing the best that we can to provide a safe and secure environment for your kid. If you don't agree with it, by all means, go to Homer Christian, go to Covenant Christian, go to Vanderbilt. That's your prerogative. We welcome you to do so. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other board members have any comments? Thank you very much, sir.
No problem.
Item number 5, matter pertaining to curriculum updates for information. Ms. Sandra LaRose, Chief Academic Officer. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. We have been working all during the months of May and June to make sure that our teachers are ready, our paras are ready, and everybody's ready just to get off onto the right foot when school starts. So our special ed advisors and teachers have been going to trainings about how to do centers in classrooms and provide interventions and tier 1 curriculum to the kids. We had talked last time about the iReady math program and getting teachers, now that they've implemented it for that first year, trained for the next steps, and we're ready for that follow-up now. So we've had regular ed, special ed, all K-8 teachers, principals, and assistant principals at different days trained on the math program, which is proving to be something that is helping our children to succeed at this time. Paras have been trained on behavior modifications inside of classrooms, as well as the academic side of education. Our civics teachers are going to be using a new program called Foundations of Freedom. It is aligned to our standards, and it's been put out by the state. You've heard us talk about core knowledge in the lower grades. We call it CKLA. So you may have heard about our core knowledge language program. Well, the core knowledge company has partnered with the state, and they're providing a social studies curriculum now. We only had Bayou Bridges in the younger grades, K to 5, so now they've provided a civics curriculum, and then they're working on the U.S. history curriculum. So hopefully all of that will be in place, the U.S. history, the following year. So we just kind of wanted to give you a little overview of what we've been doing curriculum-wise this summer in preparation for the August meeting, for the committee meeting in August. Each of us is going to give you an update of what our department is doing and maybe some of the things that we've been seeing in the schools once we start in the schools at the beginning of August.
Any questions? Yeah, Mr. Crowder?
What was the company that's writing the curriculum for the social studies or U.S. history?
It's the State Department along with Core Knowledge.
That's the company.
Yes, and it's called Foundations of Freedom.
Thank you.
And that's just civics. That's the new one.
And Mr. Ford?
So I know civics is a hot topic again lately, and I'm pleased that it is, now that students are required to take it again. Are they doing outreach with the universities and making sure these certified teachers that are getting certified in social studies are equipped to teach those classes? Because that's kind of where the downfall has been at the university level for the last 2 decades or so.
That is not something that I am aware of. That's not something that has been publicized, but it's certainly something that we could look into.
Any other comments? Seeing none, thank you, ma'am. Appreciate that.
Thank y'all.
Next, matter pertaining to dynamic indicators of basic early literacy skills. Dr. Monica Bro, Assessment and Accountability Supervisor.
Hi, good evening. I'm just going to give you a quick overview of the K-3 literacy screening that we do at the beginning of the year, the middle of the year, and end of the year. So just a quick overview. Our K-3 literacy screener is based on the science of reading, and it's comprised of 6 different measures: letter naming fluency, phonemic segmentation fluency, nonsense word fluency, word reading fluency, oral reading fluency, and maze. You can see here, I put a little chart together, what grade levels take which measures. So in kindergarten, they take 4 measures. In grade 1, they take 5. Grade 2, they don't do the first 2, letter naming and phonemic segmentation, but they do the rest in 3rd grade as well. So letter naming fluency, students are presented on their screen. This is given online. The teacher has her screen and the student has their screen. The student's presented with uppercase and lowercase letters, and they're asked to name the letters. They point and they name the letters. And the purpose of this probe is to assess students' letter recognition skills, which are the foundations for learning to read. Okay, they have 1 minute, and this is kind of what the screen would look like, the teacher's screen. If they have any errors, you can see the teacher taps on the letter and it turns red to show that it was an error. And in the case where there's a red line all the way across, that student skipped that entire line. After 1 minute, the student score is generated. The next one, phonemic segmentation fluency. The assessor says words, and the student says the individual sounds for each word. So, for example, the teacher might say sun. The student is expected to say n. And that continues. For this particular measure, the student does this orally. There's no screen. They don't see the word. They're listening for those words so that they can produce the sounds. So this helps identify students whether they can hear and manipulate the sounds in words. And again, this is a key skill for developing readers and spelling. Nonsense word fluency. Here, the student does have his screen to look at as well. The student is presented with a list of vowel consonant and consonant vowel consonant nonsense words. These are words that don't really make sense, like sig, rav. They're asked to point to and read the sounds and or say the whole word. And the purpose of this probe is to see if the students can apply their phonics rules. They're not memorizing these words because they're not real words. They're just made up words. But it shows if they can truly decode words using letter sound knowledge. Word reading fluency. The student is presented with a list of words. These are high frequency words and words that are easily decodable words. And within 1 minute, they're asked to read as many words as they can. And again, this is to see their automaticity and recognition of those frequently used words or easy to decode words. Oral reading fluency. Here, students are presented with a passage and they're asked to read it aloud. Again, this is showing their automaticity and decoding skills and overall reading fluency. And as they read, the teacher can mark the word if they skipped it or if they got it wrong, as they go. If they self-correct, you can see the little green box. That means the student self-corrected as they were reading. Maze, this is our basic comprehension measure. They're presented with a passage and there's some words that are skipped, and there's a multiple choice box. They're given a set of 3 words to choose from. And so there's a word and then 2 distractors, and they have to pick out of those 3 which word fits correctly in that passage. Again, this is to assess their comprehension and to see if they can use words in context. So scoring, each of these measures has an independent score. They either come up with, they're either well below, below, at benchmark, and above benchmark. Each grade level has a scoring range for each of these levels. Each of these individual scores are put into a formula to obtain a composite score. That's their overall score. And it's the same levels, well below, below, at benchmark, or above benchmark. And again, each grade level has their own scoring range for these levels. So as you can see here, our end of the year composites for the end of the year 2024, we had 59% of our students in K-3 who were reading on level. They benchmarked. They were at benchmark or above benchmark. At the end of the year here in May 2025, we had 68% of our students who were reading at or above grade level. So according to these measures. So we did have a significant increase here. This slide here shows our results by grade level from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. And they do the same measures, again, the same types of measures at the beginning of the year, middle of the year, and end of the year. And you can see each of our grade levels increased from the beginning of the year. My last slide just gives a little bit of information. This year we instituted the Act 422 for the 3rd grade retention law, the policy. So just some numbers here. We promoted 1,061 3rd grade students. And there was something called a good cause exemption that you could pass the student on to 4th grade if they met certain requirements. So you can see here, we used very few good cause exemptions compared to the number of students that we promoted. 5% were previously retained. I'm sorry, that should be retained. Previously retained. So, in our pupil progression plan, they can only be retained once between K and 4th grade. 5% of our students had an IEP or a 504 plan that allowed them to be able to be promoted to the 4th grade. And then 1% of our students they had 2 or more years of intensive reading intervention, so they qualified for that particular good cause exemption. We only retained 2% of our third grade students this year. It was actually 23 students. So just kind of comparing to the year before, we didn't have good cause exemptions, so I don't have that breakdown, but we did promote 1,055 third graders, and we only retained 2% as well. It was actually 23 last year as well.
So Act 422, in a nutshell, just kind of tell us what it says.
So third graders had to be reading at or above grade level to be able to be promoted to fourth grade. They had to score, they couldn't score well below. They had the 4 categories of our levels. They couldn't score well below. If they scored below, at, or above, they could go on. But the law stated they couldn't score well below. If they scored well below, they had to repeat.
I have a question. The benchmark, who determines the benchmark? Is that determined locally, or is it determined statewide through Bessie, or what?
The program, the DIBELS program, has cut scores for each level. And the state uses those cut scores from the program to determine the levels.
So the state sets that?
Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Yes, sir, Mr. Harding?
Yeah, thank you. I think you stated that you promoted 1,061 third grade students. What is our total population for third grade?
1,083. 1,083. We promoted 1,061, and we only held back 23, so we had 1,083 students.
About 98% somewhere.
Okay. All right, thank
Yeah, we only kept back 23 of those, the total population.
you.
So
Okay,
is that-
is that, with the ones that you kept back, or are we gonna do something with those students in reference to, for next year, with their reading and stuff with them?
Yes, sir. They will all have an individual academic assistance plan. They will be considered for high-dose tutoring. They'll be put in some groups of students in intervention of no more than 4.
Right.
And just that extra intervention time that we have built into our schedules, they will definitely be participating in that.
Okay, hypothetical question, let's say the student, the following year, I mean, still don't meet the benchmark, how do we handle that?
Intensive intervention, looking to see what can we do differently with those students. Digging deeper into the score reports to see what are their areas of deficit. For example, if it's phonics skills, you might have a student who benchmarked, who read 118 words a minute, but they did not know their phonics. That'll show up in the phonemic segmentation and the phonemic
Right.
awareness nonsense word fluency probes. So looking at their specific deficits and trying to intervene in those areas.
I guess what I'm trying to get to is, if they don't meet that criteria the second time around, do we hold them back again, or we move them on?
Well, it kind of just depends. If they've repeated before, then we would move them on. However, they would still have that academic assistance plan that would have to be instituted the following year as well.
Okay, I guess my main concern is that by moving, I understand by moving them on, and they still haven't reached that benchmark, by the time they get to the next grade, then it might be further back behind again, and, we have to have some type of way they can kind of more like catch up.
Right.
So that the further they move along, they're not moving further away from the benchmark.
And hopefully our high-dose tutoring should catch those kids as well. Putting them in smaller groups for intervention. We'll continue high-dose tutoring until they get to where they need to go.
Okay.
Thank you.
What was the percentage of 504 and STEAM kids that we moved?
5%. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Mr. Ford?
So just to clarify, she alluded to this earlier, part of our pupil progression plan is we can only hold them back one time K to 4. So that's why if they're held back once, then if they don't meet the standard the next year, they're moved on, but then they get the intensive, the extra help.
I
because
get-
it's,
And look, and I can understand, my concern is that
Right.
we don't move them on, and they're not catching up. And by
Yeah.
the time we deal with eighth graders,
Right.
I
Yeah.
mean, they're not reading at the eighth grade level.
but that's it. It's part of our
And-
pupil progression plans.
And our academic assistance plans, we started those last year, and those will follow the students. You know, teachers in their PLCs, they'll look at the data and
Right.
try to hit those specific targets.
Okay.
Mr. Crowdis?
Yes, I would like to express what Mr. Harding is saying. You said that it's part of our pupil progression plan, so that's what we develop. That's not from the state, right?
The state gives us the template of things that are required by the state, and then we go in and put our information in it as well. There are some certain state requirements. I'm going to be coming to you guys with that in September, our
Okay.
pupil progression plan.
All righty. So, again, I don't want to harp on it too much here, but, so from K to fourth grade, we can only hold your child back 1 year. But yet, if they're still showing signs of not quite there, we move them on regardless because of something, an arbitrary rule that we made up?
Pretty much, yes.
Pretty much, yeah.
And we look at students individually. You know, there are some cases where we may have to hold a student back
Right.
another
Okay.
time. You know, we look at each individual student.
All righty.
Mr. Lagarde?
Percentage of non-English speaking power third graders.
That I did not look up, but I can definitely get for you. I didn't look that number up, but that's a good question.
Yes,
Yeah,
Mr.
just
Harding?
one last follow-up question. You said you held back 23? Okay, I would like, if you can remember, next year about this time, see exactly what type of success rate we have with those 23, or do you have any data now to let us know exactly the 23 caught back up, or we had 19 caught back up?
I can
15?
definitely get that for you at this time next year.
Okay.
Yes.
I've got a comment. Okay. The comment is, and I get what you're saying, Mr. Crowders and Mr. Harding, but I think we have to really trust the process of what high-dose tutoring is. Like, it's above and beyond what others are getting. It's very individualized, working on very specific deficits. So it's not just random, let's do extra class. It's, let's just do the same thing again. It's getting to the very specific issues that the kid's having and focusing in on that. So you do that the whole next year in addition to grade level content, and the hope and the idea of them catching up to their grade level it becomes very much more doable. And we need to think about this too. So you hold them back 1 year. How many years do you hold them back? Like, you follow where I'm going on that one. Like, at some point, they're going to age out. You can't continue to hold a kid back. The only thing you could really do is kind of do what we're doing. You've got 6-year-olds or in a class with 10-year-olds. So because they failed 3 times, 4 times. It has to be some kind of way that they progress, but we've got to do our job to continue to catch them up while they're still on grade level, doing grade level content in the other classes. It's complicated. It's very complicated.
I guess my only concern is here, I totally understand that, and I totally agree with that, because it was not gonna make common sense to keep a kid back 2 or 3 years because they're not up to speed on reading. My concern is that we're doing everything that we possibly can to catch them back up. That's my
Yes,
biggest
yes,
concern.
Yes.
That's it.
And then, obviously, when you think the only other thing you do is which we can't, is kick them out of school. Because there's no other place for them. We have nothing designed to be a catch-all for kids who are not on grade level. We don't have like a separate school or class, or unless they meet qualifications that would put them in special ed. You know, and unfortunately, we do that.
Wonderful, thank you.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate that.
Thank you.
Item number 7, matter pertaining to departmental message in a minute, information for the departments. We'll start with Ms. LaRose on the virtual school data summer feeding program update.
Okay, we wanted to let you know that our summer feeding program has been very successful. Perhaps we didn't have as many kids as we would have liked to have seen, but when you're talking, we served 1,706 breakfasts at the 2 sites altogether this summer from May 26th to June 27th. That was our, now we're going to do a different report for July. And then lunches were 2,621 in that month's time. So yes, that's a lot of children that we were able to feed. So our program ends this Thursday, the 17th at Legion, and then at Do-Large it ends on Friday. So the parents know we've sent out those messages, but just for them to hear again that the summer feeding is still going on this week until the end of the week. If you want the breakdown of the 2 schools, Do-Large from May to June, the end of June, served 65 breakfast servings and then 66 lunch servings. And at Legion, it was 17 for breakfast and 39 lunches. And part of Legion, if you remember, they had the camp next door at the community center. So 21 of those kids went each day to pick up their lunches at Legion. So we were also able to help the kids out. They're our students from the district. So, and then for the virtual school, I wanted to give you an update on that. I had spoken to a couple of you who had questioned, how did virtual school go? We started off this past school year with 24 students who qualified and accepted enrollment. We offered it to more than that, and then after they got the call, some of them decided, oh, maybe that's not really what I'd like to do, and they went into the brick and mortar building. And then we had 4 students that after they accepted, they decided, I don't want to do that. And then we had 2 that were removed from the program by their administrators because they were not continuing with the work that they were supposed to do, and that was part of the stipulation. Once you were accepted, you had to keep up with the work, and Ms. Calloway would call the students. She'd have them come in, try to help them catch up with their work. She'd call the parents. So we did have some that we had to say, this might not be the best thing for you. You need to go back to the school building. And then 1 student transferred out of state, so we ended up with 17 students who successfully finished the virtual program last year. So for this year, we have already done our process again. We've sent out all the applications. We got them back. The review committee looked at all of them to see which ones were eligible. We had 17 students who were eligible and accepted their spots. We have representation from each of the schools. And one of the things that I wanted to see was who was returning. So we have some that aren't returning because they were seniors and they finished, but we have 5 who were either sophomores or juniors who put back again that they wanted to do that and were accepted into the program. So if we can help even 1 child, it's a success, but with 17 to 21, I would say that that's a great opportunity to keep those kids in school and graduating with their peers.
Any comments? Thank you, ma'am. Very
Thank
good.
y'all.
Summer internship program, Mr. Darrell Dillard, Supervisor of Secondary Education. Yes, sir.
Good afternoon. You should have in your packet a flyer that looks like this. The flyer contains very specific information about the summer internship that we're currently finishing up. I want to kind of give you a brief overview, the structure and the purpose of doing a summer internship. The Louisiana Department of Education did an internship for their local districts, with students in their district, at the State Department. They were the structures that we followed. We were encouraged by the state to take on this process, and they laid out the model for us to follow. So in the future, we have some experience with reaching out to industry partners to get them to engage in an internship for us. Currently, Terrebonne Parish School District are the employers. Currently, Terrebonne Parish School students are the employees. All right, this is all grant-funded allocations. On your handout, it lists specifically the number of classroom hours, the number of work hours that they need to satisfy. The purpose, obviously, is to allow our students of Terrebonne Parish to acquire some job skills, have some on-the-job training opportunities. Equally important with that is the classroom component. Oftentimes, when we meet with industry potential partners, they talk about soft skills. Our students don't have soft skills. The classroom component of this internship addresses soft skills. Soft skills such as learning how to read a paycheck, pay stub, understanding taxes, workplace attitude, leadership, conflict resolution, getting along with your employers and fellow employees. So those type of lessons occur while they are at work. And this is a paid, compensated internship where the students are available to take advantage of not only earning a few dollars this summer, also getting that soft skills lesson, those educational lessons that talks about interviewing and communicating, things that these 16-year-olds and above may need. So I also think the greatest benefit from this process that their advantage of versus just going to work at a local restaurant or a convenience store is the classroom instruction that's going to help them understand how the workplace works. At the end of all of this, besides the compensation that they're going to receive if they complete all the requirements, and they can also get a Carnegie unit, which is credit on their high school transcript for an elective class. So I believe that those components are going to give the kids of Terrebonne Parish an advantage by participating in an internship. Any questions? I believe it's 20 students.
Question, then a comment. So it's grant funded. Are we limited to the number of students, or is it based on the grant funding? Do they pay a percentage of those salaries, or is it completely?
It wasn't limited by the grant funding. There were certain criteria that students had to meet when they did the application process, we do the interview process. And so we were trying to find the best fit based on where students live and their interests. And so that just happened to be the number.
Okay.
What was the second part of your question?
I have a comment, but I just want to tout on what we're doing here because 11 years ago, I moved to Pennsylvania to open a new facility, and we were doing this with grown adults that were finished with school because they didn't have those soft skills and they didn't know how to do the people, the one-on-one interaction, the group interaction. So it was funded by the state of Pennsylvania. It was grant funded to pay for those things. Like new employees, a portion of their salary was paid by the state to include a requirement for them to have the classroom training because, these were grown adults that didn't have that. So I think here in Louisiana, we're blessed that we have such a robust economy and job market that everyone is working, even our high school students. So I just want to, keep this up. I hope this continues. I think it's a good idea. Yep. Thank you.
Any other comments?
Correct. That's what it's leading up to. We're preparing for that next phase. So we had to start somewhere. So like I said earlier, we followed the state pilot. So we started this summer in hopes to have it move on in the near future during school time. Yes, sir. 20, more than 20 signed up, but we were able to place 20 of them. They in the program, it's an 8-week program, 4 days a week, to July 24th. So they still have another week. So the last part of that process would be on the last day of employment. We go over their evaluations. We go over their classwork. We give them some feedback. We share the evaluators, the different sites they're working at, those comments that their site directors or managers were providing to our instructor. Our instructor went and visited each job site at least twice per student per week to get feedback, to communicate with myself and the department managers and the student and the parent. So we're looking forward to taking this to the next level whenever the opportunity presents itself.
I remember a few years ago, we used to do something like this with the parents governing the school system. But I wouldn't mind seeing it come around that some of those kids that graduate in the school system. That would be the goal, that'd be great. To go to hire, you know, everybody got to go to college. And that's something we talked about years ago, that you could get warehouse jobs and come to the school system.
Yes, sir. We'll definitely look into that as well.
You had a comment,
Yes, sir.
Superintendent?
Thank you, Darrell,
Yeah.
and Laurie worked hand in hand, Laurie LeCompte. And Sammy, thanks for letting you guys work with your department, Monica with your department, John with our custodians. So a lot of just cooperation in this project. So finance, I mean, a lot of people put into this project, so thank you.
And I
Good
just
job.
add to that too, that, you know, I think it's pretty impressive that we had 20 students during their summer break decide they wanted to take part of that. So I'm very pleased with that and look forward to doing this more during the academic year as the program opens up. I think that would be awesome. Thank you so much. Next, extended school year, Mr. Blaise Pellegrin, Supervisor of Special Education Programs. Yes, sir.
All right, good evening, everybody. So the extended school year program is for our students with disabilities who qualify for the program. The purpose of the program is to address their IEP objectives during the summertime so that they don't regress. It helps them to stay on track and make sure that they don't fall even further behind when they return to school. When they return to school back in August. With this program, it was housed at Legion Park. We tried to team it up so that they would have access to the summer feeding program as well, so they got breakfast and lunch. It ran from June 4th to July 17th, so we're wrapping it up this week. We had 26 students that qualified based on their IEPs, and again, the IEPs making the decision that this was something that they needed. And then our administrator, Ms. Danielle Lagarde, she complimented her staff. They worked hard, and she said our students were successful in meeting their goals and staying on track.
Wonderful, thank you. Any other comments? Thank you very much, sir. And then last, vacancies for 2025-2026 school year. Dr. Deborah Yarbrough, Director of Human Resources. Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon. I'm glad to report to you that as of 4:45, when I left out of my office, we only had 12 positions left to fill. I know principals are working very hard to get those filled, so hopefully tonight when I check email, at least half of those are done.
Awesome job, awesome job. Thank you. Seeing nothing else, number 8, we move to adjourn. Give it back to you, Mr. President.